Passes. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I have no idea who will be seeing this and doing what with it. So anyhow, I'm going to go through from the beginning. So I'm going to kill off Greenshot here. There we go. Time I did it, I left a bunch of stuff selected that I really didn't care about. Accept agreement. And I ended up with extra stuff in my menu that I never wanted. So I left the Office plug in there. I don't know that I've ever used it. OCR, I haven't used that either. I think I have used that external command plugin. So when I'm doing the installation, basically I'm turning off everything that it was throwing in there. I don't need Jira, Imager, Dropbox, Flickr, because I'm not uploading stuff in that sense. I'm just copying. Most of the time I'm just copying and pasting stuff in. So I want it to start up when Windows starts, do the install, chug it.
And you have to say that while it's installing too.
That's right. Otherwise it doesn't work right. Okay, so for me, I left the default configuration. So I hit the print screen button and I get my little crosshair. Now I know you had said it other ways.
So yeah, I do Control-0, but the only thing that I know, like if you want to use print screen, then you have to turn the print screen off for the Windows snippet tool.
Yeah.
And then if you have Windows 11 for sure, because it's like already defaulted to Windows snippet. So you can just literally search for that in your terminal and just take the print screen away from that function, and then you can actually use it for Greenshot.
Yeah. Now I still use the snippet sometimes. And when I do that, I just bring it up as its own little app.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can do the new capture from there and do whatever I want. So I just kind of went the other way with it. But yes, that is a way to do that. Okay. So back to my file manager. So if I'm doing my screen captures, whatever I've captured, so I hit my print screen, I'm going to capture something on here. It pops up with this menu, and this menu will always be what comes up after I've done some kind of an action. I typically am doing either copy to clipboard, and that's probably about 60% of the time. Open in the editor, it's about 40%, and then I will sometimes save it. So I'll come back to that part. So if I'm going to open it up in the image editor, that's my screen. I'm going to play with it. So the tools that are along the side here, most of them will pop up a context menu. So if I'm going to draw a box around something, it gives me some other options. That's the fill color. So I can say I'm just going to, and I can change my line color that I'm using around it. And it saves the most recently used one. So I played around, found bright colors typically because that's what seems to work. Correctly, that does some weird stuff. Yeah, it makes the whole thing transparent. You don't have much to work with. You can come back then and change that, set it to a color that you want to work with. So I've got my little box. I clicked out there and he automatically created another one for me. That is kind of a pain in the neck. So if I come over to the selection tool, I can then go back and just make him go away. Normally, I just try not to click back in if I'm all done doing boxes, but I can also come back and re-edit that box by using that selection tool and bringing stuff, adjusting my box or whatever. That works with pretty much all of these tools over here. So ellipsis, pretty much the same story. He's harder to get him to come to the right spot, so I can actually edit him. The lines, That's just a straight line, nothing fancy about him. The other guy has a little bit more to him. He's got arrows, so I can do start point to there, and I can let's bump up the pixels so nice to make it easier. Do I want an arrow just on the start point, just the end point, or both of them, or none of them? So that's a simple way to do it. Right now, the drop shadow is on, you can just barely see a little bit of a shadow underneath there. Sometimes that will help when you've got a busy background, sometimes help that to show up better. The drawing freehand, I'm not that good with my mouse. I very seldom use that. Text and the speech bubble, those two. So text, I can put some stuff up in here, and I often will end up coming back and selecting it and re-editing it, doing something with it. And it's like PowerPoint in the sense of you can come back and play with stuff. You can bump it up. You can change the font. Change something weird. You can change the way it's set up in here. So this is the horizontal. I can tell it to center it that way. I can also go vertically and tell it to center it in the middle of my box. Adjust my box size down. I have found it's helpful to leave a little bit around the edge because when I'm all done with it, sometimes that ends up too crowded. Speech bubble. Wherever my pointer is, that's supposedly where the mouse pointer is, that is supposedly the pointer is going to end up on the screen. However, it usually doesn't work that way. So if I was trying to point out this rapid setup thing, so I make a big box. Then I go drag stuff around. Goes to that little four-way thing, then I can adjust where he's actually pointing. And I go fix my box itself to get him out of the way. Make it be more appropriate. So I'm in the middle. I can make my text bold, bump up the font size. I can change that fill color background to be something else. So all of these options up here, that's where you just keep looking up there for all your options for how you want to format something. The number icon, you can add counters to things. So I want to look here first and there second.
Oh, nice.
And I think you can also bump up numbers. Yeah, you can change your numbering, which is kind of handy if you're trying to do a couple different series in there. And that just changes your fill background. That's only the most recent one though. You didn't do a real good job with this font color. So, dark green. Yeah, so that lined, the green, that little pencil line color, that is typically also the color of the text. So in that case, it changed to that red. Let's see, highlighter, I don't use that as much. It is a little bit nicer than some of the highlighters that I've seen. And this is not a good example because it's all dark. The team support doesn't come up with open it together here. So if I'm doing highlighting, and I can do the same thing where I change the background, the fill color. Oh. So that's essentially, it turns it into a text box. Let's see. Obfuscate.
That blurs it, doesn't it?
Yeah. I've used that a little bit. I think. Yeah, so you can play with the pixel size to blur it more or less. Other stuff, resize. I use this a lot when I'm transferring pictures in from my phone because they're coming in at like 4,000 by 18 zillion, and it's huge. So I will typically put it down in that 900 range. So in this case, let's just go 700. Okay, and he just drops it down to a smaller size. It's easier to work with. Cropping is different in the sense of I'm going to cut some stuff out of the screen. I don't want the screen capture to include some of that stuff at all. So when I click on done there, now I just have only what I left in my cropping. Camera also does goofy stuff where it'll come in sideways, upside down. So that allows you to do that. So that's the primary functions that I've used on here. I have not used the effects very much. I guess you could probably do something funny with it, but I just haven't used them. Other things that I will do. So if I wanted to save this guy, file, save as, and what I set my default up is to save it as a Greenshot type file. And I'm not going to save it here because I don't want it. But when I save it as a Greenshot file, I can then come back and reopen that. So this is a Greenshot file. I open it with Greenshot.
Oh, then you can re-edit it.
Yes. So I can come back in here and redo stuff. That was a Carl clue that I didn't realize because I'd said something about it. I said, it's a bummer I can't save the file and then come back and edit it. But you can save it as all kinds of different things. JPEG and PNG are the default. I think one of those is the default, but anyhow, Greenshot is the other one. That way I can always save it as a JPEG to actually export.
So then if you send that image to a customer as a Greenshot file, do they have to have Greenshot to open it?
Yeah, some people would send it like that. I'm typically just copying it and pasting it, into a Teams message.
Yeah.
Well, let's take another screen grab of what.
Yes.
And just throw in there.
Yeah, I've done that a lot too. The other thing that,
Just print the PDF too, and
yeah,
send it like that.
yeah, there's lots of stuff you can do that makes it easy to do. This guy. Okay, so I can right click on that image, copy the image. So the image is on the clipboard in Windows. So now I can come back down here to my little green icon and say I want to open an image from the clipboard. I want to open it in the image editor. Now here's an example of
The cell phone stuff.
yeah, of the pendant, but it's an example of one that's way too big. So I would come down here, resize, he's 1600, so I'm knocking down to 900. You automatically adjust the ratio. Now I've got something workable to deal with. So it's, once I've got something copied to the clipboard, I come down here to that little icon, right click on him, and I can pick him up from there. I can also open an image file from there. I ask the same questions again. Now my little menu is probably, no, we didn't. That's the Schultes electric water jet thing. Sometimes that little menu that pops up about what are you going to do with this thing, you got 3 different screens going on. I found that sometimes that little menu has disappeared on another screen, so you got to root around sometimes and look for them. And mousing over the green shot icon down below is usually what helps. The other thing that I will do, opening, when I right click and open with, I believe I can open. Yeah, so just, I've got this Axis Labels JPEG file. I can open that with Greenshot also. So I'm going to open the editor, and he brings it up. Now, in that way, I can't go back and re-edit those things. I have to go back to the original Greenshot file to do that. But that's the stuff that I use the most in Greenshot.
It's a lot more than I have been doing. You actually,
Yeah, I got it, but I don't know, gone that deep, but.
yeah, I learned a lot of stuff that was capable of that I didn't know.
Earlier this week, I had like switching Chevy, like center where you go back in. I thought that was really helpful, so, yeah. Because before I was thinking of like one.
Yeah.
One thing.
Common and like. My job mainly, and we're gonna have everything often. But I would say one file. And where this I think would be handy, this is like you're saying, you say that the Greenshot file is. I can reuse a lot of these images for another customer. There's stuff in there that I need to change or move, or maybe isn't relevant to what I'm doing, but the picture itself is what I need. Yeah, so that's really handy where I can save myself a lot of time by having kind of default images that I'm using, and then I can just go in and re-edit them for that particular customer. So that's helpful.
Let's see, the only other thing I can think of, preferences, so right click on that little green icon, and you can get back into basically the original menu or the setup menu stuff. So here's the capture screen stuff. I have never messed with any of the other ones as far as I just hit print screen and capture whatever I get there. And I capture my region. Capturing, you can change what you have it do. It's got 100 milliseconds to wait before capture that. I don't know if that's the default or not, but that's the only thing that I found is that when I'm using the Windows built-in clip thing, that allows you like a 3-second timer or a 10-second timer or something. Where's he at? Got it. Do a new one. Now he's gonna fire. There he is. So I can have a 10-second delay if I want. And that's lets me to set up a menu or whatever. You know, there's times when you're in a, it used to be more of a problem. You're in a drop down menu, you need to be able to capture that whole menu thing without clicking anywhere else. Because as soon as you click someplace else, then the menu closes.
Yeah.
So this is what allow you, when you have that timer in there, that allows you to set it up the way you want. Okay, I just wait for it to come up, wherever it's going to come up and say capture. And then I can do my actual capture laid out that way. So that's, but I have found that in general, I can set things up now the way I want them to without doing that time delay thing. Snip for whatever that is called, snipping. And there's two different ones in Windows. They're trying to get you to use the new one, and I don't know if this is there now. Okay, anyhow, back to the configuration stuff. The output, this is where I changed it to save it as an image format, a Greenshot. I gave it a storage location, I gave it a file name path. Destination, I can turn stuff on or off here. If I leave it dynamic, then it gives me that menu. I think it enter one time. Plugin. So it's for things. See, don't touch this and see. Don't touch it. So primarily with just the output that I changed to the Greenshot. I think that was it. Like,
This is a paid version, has more features and.
I don't think so. I think this is just the old style open source. Out of the kindness of their fuzzy little hearts, they're providing this tool. So that's my tricks that I play with Greenshot. And it's the speed is a significant factor. The ability to quickly grab it, do some quick edits, send it up to the clipboard and drop it into an email or into a text, whatever, and be done with it. So like I say, most of the time I'm either doing it directly to the clipboard or I'm doing maybe 40% of the time I'm doing snippets to it.
I wonder, can you change it to a PDF stream from that screen, like if you want file, like print from there?
Yeah, you probably could. So,
So by yourself. Yeah. Didn't know that, but
yeah, didn't like that. Okay. But yeah. So yeah, you could spit it on a PDF. Sweet. Yeah. Any questions?
It was pretty informative.
That's good. So I'll let it get to 22 minutes, kill it off. Okay, now let's go a little longer.